Hey there, Weather Geeks. It is weather for Weather Geeks on Tuesday, March 29th, 2016. Going to start out this evening at 7:32 is when I'm recording this, with a look at the about-to-set sun. Of course, sunsets are getting later and later at this time of the year, so we're about 10-15 minutes away from sunset, but a beautiful view on our weather camera in Youngstown. This is actually on our transmitter tower on the near kind of south side of downtown Youngstown. It is not right in the heart of downtown, but it affords us great views of the horizon in all directions. So that's the scene in Youngstown, and a similar scene in Boardman. You know, it's interesting following this. In the dead of winter, the sun sets way over here, or even farther to the left than that. And then right on the solstice, of course, 224 runs almost due east-west. Right on the solstice, the sun sets kind of, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me get rid of that if I can. There we go. The sun sets kind of almost right over 224 on the equinox, I should say, not the solstice. Now that we're past the equinox and heading deeper into spring, the sun is setting farther and farther over to the north of due west. So it's interesting following the sun here on this Boardman shot, particularly because 224 again pretty much runs due east-west. All right, let's look at things from above. Today it was a crystal clear afternoon, great day to check out the MODIS high-resolution satellite picture across the region. Of course, Lake Erie is shown with the usual algae over the lake. This is Ohio down here. Here's northwest PA up around Erie. Here's Mosquito Lake, and there's Pymatooning, and the greater Youngstown area kind of down in through here. There's Warren right here. Youngstown's more like this. And everything kind of looks brown, no surprise here at the end of March. It'll be interesting to watch this satellite picture evolve over the next few weeks. If we have some clear days, we should see the landscape greening up very nicely. With the warm March weather already, seeing a lot of buds on trees and flowers and that sort of thing. And in general, the landscape should green up really nicely over the next few weeks. All right, it's going to be a clear, calm night tonight as high pressure drifts overhead. That high is centered almost right over us, so expect calm, cool, great conditions for radiational cooling tonight when the heat from the day that accumulates can just radiate back into space and maybe scraping some frost first thing tomorrow morning. Why am I showing you the dew points? Well, on a night like this, with ideal radiational cooling, when you have dew points this low, down in the teens, lower and middle 20s, that's kind of indicative of how cold it might get later on tonight. Now, I'm not expecting a lot of teens. I guess I wouldn't be shocked, though, if a few of the cooler valley locations tonight, kind of the cooler nooks and crannies, if you will, drop down to 20 to 22 degrees. That'll be the exception. Most places will be in the mid-20s, but a few 20-degree readings a possibility. Some of the usual cold spots in our region include parts of Ashtabula County and the northwestern corner of Trumbull County. There's a valley through here that tends to collect the colder air at night, so it'll be interesting to see those temperatures first thing tomorrow morning. All right, before I get to the forecast, a reminder, tomorrow evening there are 2 Skywarn training sessions around the region. These are the last 2 of the season in our viewing area. One at Austintown Fitch High School in Austintown, and the other over in Mercer on South Erie Street. Both of these start at 6:30. If you're new to this, these are Skywarn spotter classes put on by the National Weather Service. Free of charge, no pre-registration required, and you can learn how to become a true storm spotter. You can get certified, and it kind of gives you license to call in reports to the National Weather Service that they take seriously. Size of hail, funnel clouds, that sort of thing. It is a real help to the weather enterprise, not only TV meteorologists, but National Weather Service meteorologists as well, if we can get more people storm spotter certified. All right, as we head through the next couple of days, here we go with a big warm-up tomorrow. Again, starting in the 20s, but the wind coming around to the south tomorrow and this warm front lifting off to the north. Temperatures will be off to the races. It's going to be a very quick rise tomorrow. It'll be much different feeling as you head out maybe to grab a lunch tomorrow as compared to first thing in the morning. So we'll rise from the 20s into the 60s tomorrow. And then our cold front approaches on Thursday. I don't think Thursday's a washout, and there's a little uncertainty as to how much rain falls during the daylight hours. But the best chance to get wet Thursday will be in the afternoon and into the evening, and this is when our best chance of thunderstorms will be right along the cold front towards sunset and farther into Thursday evening. That shifts off to the east Friday. Friday's not a cold day, but it's not as warm, mostly in the 50s, and we'll await this next little disturbance, kind of a weak front, that'll pivot through later Friday and might bring us a rain shower in a couple of spots. Severe weather risk, this should say Thursday, not Friday. Apologize for that. But severe weather risk is pretty low with this. Could there be thunder? Yes, but there's a higher risk of severe weather, and even that's not a huge chance. Off to our west from Indiana on south on Thursday. Rainfall amounts on the models averaging a half an inch to an inch, so another pretty good slug of rain. We're running a surplus for the month of March, and that will continue, it looks like, into April. It looks like my wind gusts may not want to come up here. Yeah, there we go. There's some data. It's going to be windy over the next couple of days. Tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night and into Thursday as well. We could see some gusts to 30 to 35 miles per hour, with perhaps even higher gusts off to the west. This could be wind advisory criteria kind of a day out in northwest Ohio on Thursday, with some gusts perhaps close to 50. All right, been advertising a colder weekend. Still looks like that is on track. Here's a look at Saturday's map. Taken literally, the GFS would suggest there might be a flurry around Saturday morning. Not sure if that's right, but I do think there's a better chance of seeing some snow flurries and snow showers Saturday night into parts of Sunday. It's not going to stick, but you can see flurries flying here and there, particularly Saturday night. And it's going to be a chilly day for the Pirates opening day on Sunday. Probably no better than 40 to 42 down in Pittsburgh, maybe 43 if you're lucky, with a stiff breeze as well. Indians' home opener is Monday, and this is a tough forecast on Monday. There's a lot of model disagreement, no surprise 6 days out. GFS has this system coming through with perhaps a rain shower, perhaps a snow shower, perhaps some mixed precipitation. A lot of uncertainty as to the Monday outlook. One thing for sure, it's not going to be that warm for the Indians' home opener, whatever it does as far as precipitation. It's going to be a jacket kind of a day up in Cleveland. And real quick look at the longer range. Cooler than average pattern for the first half of next week, and then we turn things around towards the end of next week. Here's the 7 to 12 day outlook. And then in the longer range, 10 to 15 days, and especially beyond that, into the middle of April, it's looking more and more likely that we'll get back into a pretty significant warm pattern, at least for some time, there in mid-April. All right, thanks for hanging with me on this Tuesday night weather for Weather Geeks. Check out my forecast tonight on 21 News at 11, and I will see you back here tomorrow.